Good morning, everybody. Lots of you wanted to know how much our 6-week road trip around France cost, so today we're going to break it down. If you're new to my channel, then hi, my name's Janie, and together I travel with Johnny, aka the Grumpy Builder, Sunny, my beautiful Romanian rescue dog, and Noodle, the fabulous Volkswagen LT35 camper van. We left Cornwall in England on the 29th of December. We drove all the way to Dover, where we got on the shuttle, went under the ocean, weird, came out at Calais, and then we went anti-clockwise right around France, returning back to England on the 10th of February. Altogether, we clocked up a little over 3,600 miles in those 6 weeks, and this is what the breakdown looks like. Okay, please excuse the iPad, but there's no other way for me to remember these numbers. So possibly you're not going to be surprised to know that our biggest expense in those 6 weeks was food. And this is supermarkets, so this does include household things like washing up liquid, kitchen roll, I don't know, the stuff that you'd get at Tesco, whatever that is. So it's not just stuff that goes in our mouths, this is also like consumables. And this also includes butchers, patisseries, farm shops, that kind of thing. Anyway, I'm just delaying telling you because I'm embarrassed about the number. In 6 weeks on food, we spent £870.36. I know, it's a lot. If you don't know us, then I'm a food writer and a complete foodie, and I love food shopping everywhere. I just love food shopping. Johnny can take it or leave it, but in France, he totally loved food shopping too. And because you can just spend half an hour wandering around a supermarket looking at things, you don't actually have to speak to anyone and show your ignorance in the language. It was just honestly, we both loved it. It was like a day out when we got to go to the supermarket over there. So 870 quid in 6 weeks. Yikes. So the next biggest, juiciest category was fuel, was diesel, and that one we spent £731.71 on, and that includes the tank of fuel that we bought in England before we left. So that is the whole 3,600 miles. Is that good? I don't know. It looks like a vast number, but then when you think of that we actually did the entire country, it's pretty impressive, isn't it? The next cost was actually something that we paid for before we even left England, and that was Le Shuttle. That was the crossing to get from Dover to Calais. Return was £418, and that's for 2 adults, a dog, and the camper van. Bear with me just a second. So on the way out, we travelled on December the 28th, which was quite busy in terms of like tourism season. A lot of people were going skiing. A lot of people apparently were just popping over to Disneyland in Paris. So there was lots of young children, lots of families and stuff. It was really busy, really, really busy. So on the 28th of December, that crossing cost us £243. But in January, Le Shuttle hold a January sale. So we didn't buy a return at the start, we just bought a single one way. But when we were out there, I saw that they were offering a discounted price if you bought before a certain date in January. And that's when I bought our return journey, which was £175. So we did save a little bit of money there. The next category, which actually is a lot cheaper than the last 3, was eating out. We took friends out for a meal, we'd go out for coffee, a couple of times we went out for breakfast, a couple of times we dropped into McDonald's, random. So the total for eating out was £180.66. The next one was tolls. Now in France, not all motorways are free. A lot of them you have to pay tolls on. The first time we used a toll road over there was by mistake. We got on, and as soon as we realised what on earth was happening, we got off at the next junction and went a different way round. We were very anti-tolls to start with. That first one junction cost us £2.25 in tolls. However, as we were finishing up our trip, we had just a week or so left to go. We started getting a knocking noise in the engine, and suddenly it was really important that we just got back to England safely and smoothly and without any dramas. So we made the decision to actually go on toll roads just to get back up to Calais. So we used tolls on purpose, and in that situation, absolutely brilliant. I don't regret it at all. I couldn't tell you how many miles we did on toll roads, but it was a lot. It was a big chunk of the south of France to the north of France, and the total altogether was £102 and 10 pence. And I would say, if it's in your budget, obviously, as long as you can afford to do it, and if you're just trying to get from A to B, then absolutely toll roads were fantastic. The services on them were really, really good. The road surface was really, really good. If you didn't go on the toll roads, on the motorways, and very often you'd have to go through town centres with roundabouts and traffic, and it just made it much quicker and much easier. The next category was just random things that I call touristy things. So it might have been some parking or getting into a war monument that we went to, getting a ski lift, that kind of thing. Just odds and ends from being a traveller, I guess, and that one totaled £79 and 74 pence. So the next category I've kind of called tools, etc. So there was a bill from a sports store. We used a car wash at one point. Johnny went into a brico-marché, which is like a B&Q, and bought some sealant for the windscreen, and you know what I mean, tools and things like that. That one totaled £59 and 75 pence. So the next category was for laundry, and I don't think we actually used a laundrette once. We just used like the Revolution washing machines that were generally in supermarket car parks. They were everywhere. They were really, really easy to find. That one totaled £48 and 64 pence for 6 weeks worth of washing, which I don't think is bad at all. Oh, and also if you use those, you don't need to provide your own washing powder and conditioner. It's all kind of included. So even though we've got it in the van, we didn't actually need to use any of our own cleaning products for our laundry. And the final category I have is for campsites. And in 6 weeks, because we travelled in winter, and I think that is the key here, we only stayed on 2 paying campsites, and that totaled £26. One of them was in Quiberon. There were no wild park-ups. There were no car parks that we could fit under the barrier. They all had height barriers in to stop camper vans and motorhomes parking up in them. It's a real touristy little place, so that was kind of not surprising. And the second campsite was called Camping Death Pots, which I thought was hilarious, the name. And I think we went there purely because we really wanted a good shower, and we abused their hot water, I'm not gonna lie. So 26 quid for campsites in 6 weeks is amazing if you ask me. So that brings the grand total of our 6 weeks in France to £2,515 and 96 pence. Is that a lot of money? Yes, it is. Do we regret any of it? No, not a single penny. It was worth everything that we spent on it. It was such a good road trip. We loved it. It was brilliant. Would we do anything differently? Honestly, no. It's our first European, our first overseas trip, and we were in it. We went all out. I just sold Myrtle, my old camper van, so unfortunately there's nothing left of my sale of darling Myrtle. That all went on the trip, and I've got no regrets. It was fantastic, and we will be going back to France. We loved it. What a beautiful country. Oh my goodness. If you're planning a trip over to France anytime soon, let me just scroll, then I will say there are other things that you do need to bear in mind. So I just scribbled down some that I thought of. If I've forgotten any and you think, hang on, she's forgotten so-and-so, could you just do us all a favour and pop down into the comments and just leave anything else that people need to consider before they go off to Europe or off to France. Now, I didn't include these things in the price breakdown because they might be quite specific to us, but definitely worth thinking about at the very least. So we bought travel insurance that covers us for the EU. The one that we got had a maximum of 45-day coverage for each trip, so that is exactly how many days we did, and we actually came home on day 45 for that reason. Yeah, bear that in mind. You might want to get a longer one. We also got EU breakdown cover, and I've got a feeling that was just an add-on with my car insurance company, and I don't think it costs very much at all. He has pet insurance in the UK. I phoned up the company just to make sure that he would be covered in Europe, and because I made that phone call, he was. If I hadn't have made that phone call and told them that we were going away, apparently he wouldn't have been covered in the EU. So it's worth looking at your policy and seeing if your animal will be covered. When it came to internet, obviously I upload videos, so I need some decent data to be able to do that. So we both use an iPhone, and we're both with EE in the UK, and we just got EU roaming, and I think it was free. We phoned them up, and I think they just like switched it on our account, and we had free internet for the entire trip, which was great. And also we used our phones, like we tethered, so I tethered my iPad to my phone, and that's how I got online. Johnny uses a MacBook, and he tethered that to his iPhone. That's how he got online. It was great. Really easy. Passports, obviously, luckily our passports were both in date, so we didn't have to worry about that, but that's something you do need to think about a few months in advance. If you know you're going away anytime soon, just check the date on your passport and make sure it's valid. And then finally, there's this, I didn't bring mine with me, unfortunately. There's this thing called CRIT-AIR in France, and it's to do with clean air zones in cities, like the ULEZ that we get in the UK. You have to apply, and I did this from England before we went. You have to apply saying what category your vehicle is in, but it's very unclear on their website how you actually work out what category your vehicle is, especially if you drive an older vehicle like we do. So I totally guessed, and I got a paper disc through, and it's like an old tax disc that we used to get back in day in the UK, and you put it on your windscreen. And then I believe if you go into a clean air zone, well, I don't really know what that does. It just says that we drive a dirty old diesel. I don't think it stops us going anywhere. Anyway, this paper disc, didn't actually arrive to our house in England before we left. So we didn't actually display our CRIT-AIR sticker, but obviously our number plate would have been in their system. So if we had have got pulled up on it, I believe we would have been covered. Now, to this day, I don't understand how it works. And if anyone, again, out there does understand the CRIT-AIR, then please, if you could pop down and please explain it to us very simply. There was nothing on it that suggests it would stop us being able to go into a specific area. I don't know. If you're going to France, please just Google CRIT-AIR. I'll put a link down below. Good luck if you've got an older vehicle working it out, because... Right, while we're here, having this little chat, I asked on Facebook if anyone had any other questions for us. Lucy asks, I do have a question. Do you ever get on each other's nerves and need some time alone? Which this made me laugh so much. I actually think Johnny and I travel so well together. We're complete opposites in pretty much everything. He's really calm and chill, and I'm very excitable. You may have noticed. And actually, I think that those two things complement each other really, really well. When I'm getting anxious or nervous about a situation, he's just like being really practical and calm, and it's brilliant. We work really, really well together. Also, I'm the planner. I'm the one that's doing all the head stuff. He's the grafter. He's the one that's under the engine when something's leaking or going wrong. Well, again, works really, really well. I'm a type A planner, so I like to know in advance, you know, what's coming up and how to do this and blah, blah, blah. But whenever we travel, we both kind of have this unwritten rule that we don't overplan. Because travel changes so quickly, your whole day can be turned around in a split second. And then if things don't go the way that I've planned, then I could get really stressed, and that's no fun for anybody. So we don't plan. When I know that we're going to a country or an area, I'll speak to people, I might do a little bit of research, and I'll pin some things on a Google map. And then when we're actually in that area, I can look at the map and think, oh yeah, we really, really need to go to this place. It's a great photo opportunity, or it's a great free park, or whatever. And then we can right, today we're going to aim for that place. But I don't do a route march like on day 3 we need to be there, and day 7 we need, like, that's not the way anybody wants to travel. We didn't have any arguments. We had a little bit of an issue at the beginning because my French was a tiny bit, or maybe I've just got more confidence in speaking to people in French, but I was going into the patisserie boulangerie to get him his baguette and croissants because I loved it, and I loved that smell, and it's a real childhood smell and childhood memory for me going into patisseries. And I wanted to do it. I was doing it for him, so I would go and buy him his breakfast all nice and fresh for when he got up and stuff. But then I was realising, because I'm currently gluten-free, that then I was getting back to the van, and then he would obviously sit in front of me and eat 3 croissants and a lump of bread, and I would start getting really, really angry. This is entirely my stuff. This is not his problem at all. I mean, any normal person going to France is going to buy a bag of croissants every day because they're beautiful. So I did have to reach out to a little support group I'm in, and they kind of helped me. So I cleared out a drawer. That was Johnny's drawer. All his gluteny goodness went in there, so I couldn't see it. If he was going to have a little croissant fest, then I would take the dog out and he would just sit there and have a lovely time. And yeah, we just worked around it. But we didn't cause any argument. I just found myself getting triggered every time he ate something that I couldn't. Carly asks, any top tips for travelling with a dog? Actually, my mate JP gave me a great top tip. All a bit covered in dog's hair. I should have washed this. This water bowl, it's got this like floating thing in it. So this stays filled up all the time on the floor. It doesn't like go everywhere. He can... yeah, I don't know. This thing, I'll leave a link to it down below. I think it was Amazon. I did try another travelling water bowl that was rubbish and just went everywhere. A normal water bowl would be no good because as soon as you go around a corner, it would all splosh everywhere. Every morning we would fill that up. He just could help himself. He didn't need to let us know that he was thirsty. So that was really good. Other top tips about travelling with a dog. Obviously, France gets really bloody hot in the summer. Another reason why travelling in France in the winter is such a good idea. That and the fact that the roads are so quiet. All the park-ups were pretty much empty. We rarely had to share a park-up with someone else. So if you've got an anxious dog like we have, then definitely winter travel. Also on a hot day, you don't have to work out what you're going to do with the dog when it's too hot for him. Because he's got a double coat, I wouldn't want to take him to the south of France in the summer. And honestly, I don't want to be in the south of France in the summer. I couldn't think of anything worse, quite frankly. The other nice thing about travelling with a dog is that he comes first. He has to. He's not asked to go to France, we're dragging him there. And it also gives you a little bit of structure to a day, knowing that the dog needs to go out for walks, that the dog needs those meal times. And that doesn't confine us, it actually gave us a little bit of structure in an otherwise completely open sea of, you know, what should we do today kind of thing. Travelling with a dog, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And for any ladies out there that travel on their own, definitely get one of these. Oh my gosh, we're just away for a few days, me and him in Cornwall. We're just parked up in Tintagel in a car park right now. Anyone came near this van right now, he'd go ballistic, whether it was daylight or nighttime. No one's going to try and break into this van with him on in here. They're not. So get yourself one of these. I highly recommend it. Helen asks, do you have any onboard facilities? Yes, we do. In terms of a shower, we don't have a shower, but we do have a very big sink that's big enough to wash your hair in, which is key. And also we do have a toilet. We've got a composting toilet, which I am going to be making a video about in the not too distant future. So I will answer that question in due time. We've travelled a month in Scotland back in 2017 with no toilet. We had a little shovel and a pea pot and it was doable. We did it. It wasn't a big deal, but get a toilet. It makes life so much easier. Any other questions? Somebody asked if we won the lottery, like how on earth can you take 6 weeks out of your life to go travelling, like stuff. We're just really lucky and we prioritise travel. We prioritise adventure over Sky TV or fancy clothes, or it's all about priorities, like what's important to you. For me, travel has always been really important. Luckily I'm with a chap that is open to feeling the same, so that's it. If this has been interesting, please hit that little thumbs up for me. If you've got any other questions about travelling or van life or anything whatsoever, please leave them down below, and in time I might pull them together and make another little Q&A video. And in the meantime, thank you for all your support. I'm really glad you enjoyed the French adventure, and watch this space when you find out where we'll be going next. Thanks for hanging out with me today, beautiful people, and I'll see you in the next one. Mwah! Peace.